Yeah, in case it wasn't obvious enough, we are not done talking about these guys. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in again and tuning in to begin with. I truly didn't realize so many of you guys understood the lost art of old school Persona content. So bonding with you guys in the comment section has been really fun. Reminiscing on our favorite videos to finding new channels entirely. I'm definitely gaining something here too. Y'all have put me on, so in return I'm going to drop some more content for you. We're making good pace for 1K subs, and I'm really grateful for everyone who's choosing to stick around and sub. So if you end up liking this video and you're new, do the same. Anyway, let's hop right back into this. Starting with you.
So starting with Persona 3, Akihiko gives me major signs that he's somewhere on the autism spectrum.
LadyVirgilia is someone I see as a true specialist. And I would also argue she's probably the best authority on a lot of the topics that she chooses to cover. Her analysis style of content has a very unique twist to it, a twist called perspective. Perspective that's hard to grasp, especially as a Westerner myself. We're talking culture, not that kind of culture. You freak, oh my goodness. Guys, I'm talking about real culture. You see, unlike people such as this, that are more or less only observers of Japan, LadyVirgilia's mother was native directly from Japan. As a result, as a young girl, she had the opportunity to annually travel to Japan. In addition to being exposed to all sorts of media that way, it led to her providing super unique analysis, cool stuff explaining international discrepancies between the taste of Americans and Japanese, from things like social dichotomies, all the way to more simple, silly stuff like character preferences. Before discovering her channel, I'm not too sure I was aware that humility and humbleness were such a highly valued trait amongst the Eastern populace. And thanks to all of her advice, come my third trip to Japan, I was basically already Japanese. Her culture-based deep dives offer a truly broad spectrum of ideologies that you're not likely to discover in just any old video. I also just want to take a second to highlight that LadyVirgilia is also flat out just an insanely interesting person. Not only in terms of her hobbies, but her life story is often shared throughout her content, giving a layer of intimacy and vulnerability that goes a far way in immersing you in her life details. She's a really good storyteller and you could almost see yourself there. Some of her videos are truly incredible. And I'll be blunt, I will not be getting into her life story today because obviously it's not my story to tell. But what I do want to say is that she seems like a pretty cool person. And I really respect that she has an emphasis on family. You don't really see many channels, especially gaming channels, that get all that deep into that kind of thing. I feel like because this channel and a lot of other channels focus on media, it's easy to make those kind of things disjointed apart the person, you know what I mean? Another reason that I really enjoy her content is because I'm of the firm belief she's not only one of the people that could make this kind of thing, but also one of the few that could do it well. Being able to produce and just do justice by a lot of cultural related topics is so out of my vector that I just respect it. And we're gonna try something a little bit different this video. I'm also gonna try my best to throw in a recommended video that is my personal favorite for each of the channels I go down, if I have a favorite, that is. As far as Lady V goes, I really love her video about the Japanese media that carried her childhood. I think it's a crime this video hasn't hit the numbers of a lot of her other big main videos, and just so you guys know, this is one of the easiest rankings I've ever had to decide on.
Actually a lot easier than I thought it'd be. Alright, please be something good. What the
Now, as for JohneAwesome, we're going to approach this channel differently than the rest. I'm going to show you an image that I believe summarizes JohneAwesome more than any words can. A visual aid, if you will. 3, 2, 1. This is what I imagine JohneAwesome to look like when I'm in need of guidance to do anything from complex fusion processes to dungeon navigation. Because John is quite simply the archetypical scholar, or more aptly, a sage. As you may remember in my last video, I praised Gnarly for being archetypically the badass. He's able to navigate these ludicrous challenges and certainly takes a lot of knowledge. However, John is more or less encyclopedic in terms of knowing everything about the games he covers. And even when he's not familiar, he's developed such a strong game sense and intuition, he ends up making everything look so easy. The dude pretty much has maxed out XP when it comes to Atlas titles. Now, speaking more generally, I don't have that much experience watching Let's Plays unless it's Chugga Conroy, cause hell yeah, Chugga Conroy. However, I have a really distinct memory of myself after I beat SMT5. I remember finishing the game and thinking to myself, wow, that was awful. But the gameplay wasn't too bad, honestly. The minute-to-minute combat was really fun. So when I had finished the game, I thought to myself, since I'm spoiler-free, I want to check out what everyone else is doing, how they're approaching the game, you know? Like, aside from all the criticisms I had about the game, it clearly had an abundance of combat options to play with. For my adventure through the DAW, I went with a super simple strength build that I could allocate with special attacks that always scaled to my exact strength point. It was honestly super cathartic to let things rip with moves like Sagandis and eventually Morokumo. But I remember being really impressed when I was watching Johnny develop actual strategies, you know, team building, expressing a little more. He was just playing way more dynamic and considered than I was, which to me was pretty cool. I got to see a lot of demon interactions that I didn't personally want to slog through myself, so that was also pretty rad. The game was just so narratively bland to me that I just really unga-bunga'd my way through the end without much care, but the fun I had watching Johnny play gave the game more value. You know, last year the dude made an announcement that he'd be working on something with a new formula to create a retrospective on Persona 1, and yeah, it's kind of amazing, like go watch it now. I haven't finished it quite yet, but it rekindled a feeling that I haven't had watching in Persona content for a very long time. Well, at least ever since I first came across a video by it.
Well, at least the music's still good, right?
There is exactly zero exaggeration when I say SnicketySlice was the origin of showing love to the original Persona 1 on YouTube. Believe it or not, when Persona 3 through 5 were still niche, Personas 1 and 2 were flat out still obscure, a complete mystery to countless people. SnicketySlice is not simply a legend for giving a deep dive plunge into Persona 1, but in his retrospective, this monster took on the original and the PSP version, digging incredibly deep with these 2 games and 2 campaigns per. He's covered plenty of Persona content without a doubt, but it seems like these days he's more of a variety style content creator for obscure games in general, especially Japanese stuff. And even aside that, I'm so grateful to him because his Persona retrospective was actually my original push to start the Persona classic titles. I'd have gotten to them anyway, but he was the first guy that had me excited to check them out, like with full agency. And just look at me now. I use Nalia as an avatar, and it's like my 3rd favorite mainline Persona game. Persona 1, yeah, it's pretty cool. His videos were presented so phenomenal. I'd say that he's practically responsible for my fandom when it comes to this particular Persona entry. And Snickety, if there's a chance you come across this video, which it looks like there's a chance that people actually come across my videos, love to see it, I'd like to thank you big time. Like, seriously, thanks, you put me on. Now, between Snickety and JohneAwesome's retrospectives, I would say that from both of these creators, this is my favorite content out of both of them. However, I didn't finish John's retrospective, in full at least, so as of today, the only fair answer I could give to you for my favorite video by him, without any format biases, because I'm very partial to retrospectives, I'll mention it again, I'm gonna go with his SMT5 playthrough, as a whole. It's given a surprising amount of value to a game that I really just don't care for, and I really just can't downplay that that's not an easy thing to do. So without further ado, let's rank both of these guys.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, I've been waiting for this. It may have only been announced last year, but damn did it feel like forever. I think this was right up.
Do you know what content is absolutely timeless? Grown men dressed up as a video game, talking about video game. Trash or Treasure has a very simple formula. He makes mostly average size reviews that could be killed in a single sitting. And I'll be honest with you guys, I remember what I said the last video. I was being pretty mean and disparaging to Persona 5 babies. But this guy right here, this silly grown man dressed up as Joker Persona, is an example of a P5 baby that I really like. Despite starting off with Persona 5, he's made a sincere effort into not only trying the older titles, but looking into spin-off franchises. And I would say that he's pretty much presented them in a fair enough light alongside the main titles. You see, I'm one of those dudes who sees Persona as sort of like the Kingdom Hearts games. Meaning in order to be up to date with the lore, you quite literally need to experience the quote-unquote spin-offs, as they are quite literally canon, and lead us to all sorts of other bizarre talking points from Elizabeth's journey to Free Makoto, all the way to the more stupid headcandy theorizing kind of stuff and possibilities. Alright, now I'm gonna go on a small, let's just call it a techie tangent. I have a headcanon, a personal one. So get this, you know how C's becomes all grown up in Persona 4 Arena, and they basically become like shadow operatives, basically government agents? I have a theory that if the investigation team were to ever come back as adults, they would be a rock band after the events of Persona 5 dancing. Fuck. I meant to say Persona 4 dancing, and now my theory is already falling apart. Oh my... Alright, so let me know in the comments if I cooked with this one or if I burned the whole kitchen. But back to Trash or Treasure. His videos are super special in the sense that they're very simple, which I know sounds a bit weird, but when you put it in the light that a lot of these creators are super personality driven, it's kind of cool to have this one dude that simply does digestible, plain old reviews. They're really good and don't require any sort of preamble or much of any sort of really demanding time commitment. But if one thing really does put him apart compared to most, it's what he, of his own volition, has chose to cover. He chooses to shine a light on the spin-offs. The Q games, the arena games, everyone's favorite, the dancing games, of course. Look, he even did a collab with Nam on Tactica. As for my personal favorite video by him, I would definitely say his Persona Q2 one is my solid favorite. If I recall, it was also my first video that I saw by him. I remember at the time I was looking for more people talking about the game, as I felt like the only person on earth that had played it. My guess is that I was looking for people talking about it, and that's how I came across this channel. But is this channel trash or treasure? You may now laugh. Let me just rank them.
Let me think about it. No, I'd much rather see you witness her die.
I said, let her go! Ah!
What do I think of Brony Pony Productions? Well, I guess if I had to say anything, I would say... I want to thank you guys so much for watching. There's still quite a bit of channels to cover, including some recent put-ons you guys gave me. However, I think the next video, I want to kind of do a video responding to some of the other big creators that responded to the first part of this series. If you guys think that would be interesting, let me know if I should do a video on that next week. Just naming a few that have responded to my last video: Fither, Simply Dad, and Bubble Tea. Fither alone was nuts, but everyone else too? My goodness, I did not expect those eyes to really reach it, and I'm just so honored. And as I mentioned, Fither is retired, guys, so I hope no one goes around bothering him to post or anything like that. But honestly, from some of the responses to his comment, you guys have been super respectful, and I just want to thank you guys for being very understanding and, not being too overbearing or overwhelming for the dude. I was also kind of thinking about doing videos covering my favorite videos more elaborately, but we'll get there when we get there, if we get there. And until then, guys, I'll see you next time.
I got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day. The sun in the sky has a smile on his face, and he's shining a salute to the American